Hey, I wanted to talk to you about cognitive distortions, but just one type. It's called mind reading.
I'm going to read your thoughts.
And actually, this is one of the more challenging ones, especially if you are an INFJ personality type. And really, it comes down to uh, determining based upon your belief system or based upon your own filter what somebody else could be thinking or what kind of story they could be coming up with for themselves about you, or what story you're telling yourself about what they could be thinking.
He's the snake to my mongoose, or the mongoose to my snake. Either way, it's bad.
And we tend to, especially if we have had some kind of trauma or some kind of difficulty in our experience, look back and think to ourselves, oh, I know exactly what they were thinking, which is also another, it's a cognitive bias there, is that we look back on a situation and go, oh, that's what they were thinking. We don't know. We don't know that for sure. We might have some kind of idea, but we may not know for sure. So, what does that mean ultimately? Is that we use it as a way to resist a feeling or sense of vulnerability.
And then we get to choose who we let into our weird little worlds.
That if we believe we know what they're thinking, then we're not going to be caught off guard. We're not going to be surprised. Therefore, we don't have to really be vulnerable about anything. We don't have to tell the truth about anything because we already know what they're thinking. So that means we can hit the bricks and leave and do our Irish goodbye, perhaps, or do our door slam, maybe, and walk away from the situation when actually there might not have been anything wrong to begin with. And not only that, but we use it as a tool to prove ourselves right. And so we have a function in the brain, a thinker that thinks and a prover that proves, that whenever we think a thought, we have to prove ourselves right. And how we do that is by finding evidence. So if I can find evidence to make whatever I believe you're thinking real, then I can justify my exit, or I can justify my belief system about who you are. When in actuality, we don't really know what that is or who that person is. It would take a lifetime to know anyone. We can get a sense of who people are based upon their actions. What do they do in moments of fear, frustration, irritation? What do they do in times of uh, passion and enjoyment and joy and pleasure and all those kinds of things? What kinds of actions do they take as a result of feeling good about themselves? And how do they uplift other people and bring more positivity into the experience of other people in their lives?
Yes! Yeah! Hell yes! Yeah. She's, that means yeah! Yes!
Taking a moment and reflecting in a different way, saying, okay, well, I've been mind reading you. And this is a story that I'm telling myself about who you are and what you're doing. And I've done videos about this in other places, but ultimately, I feel like it's very important. It's very useful information to have, because if we don't check our mind reading, then we could go into some other issues, such as catastrophizing. And then we believe whatever thought we believe is true about that person or that experience or whatever it might be, we make it even bigger. We can make it even bigger in our mind when we don't have to do that. We don't have to let it play itself out to the very last note, believing that that last note is going to crash and burn, right? We want to take a moment, take a step back and say, oh, wait a minute. Is this really true? Is this really what's happening? Or is there something more here, some more awarenesses that I can gain from the experience that I'm having? Can I really trust my own filter? Can I trust my own filter to give me accurate information? Or is my filter a little bit busted based on the fact that I've been traumatized or hurt in my past or whatever it might be? And that's when it's good to have a friend to talk to and say, hey, I'm making this story up about this other person or this other friend or this other experience that I'm having. Do you see this as it being true? Now, I've had people where I've absolutely believed 1000% that I am mind reading this absolutely perfectly. And then I've had people come into my experience and they go, close, but not quite all the way. Not quite all the way. And so they've helped me work through that. And of course, luckily, gratefully, I have had a number of people in my life who are coaches, that's just what they do. Therapists, different types of therapists, all kinds of people. I've been very lucky to have all different types of people in my life, and to know that quality of connection is really genuine, it's really true. It's people who have been through the ringer either themselves or with their clients. So I know that I could trust the information that I'm getting. So if I believe this story, what they would often do is give me a counter story. Well, what if it could be this? Or what if it could be that? And I'm a radical responsibility coach. So my folks, my friends, my contemporaries, they are going to give it to me. And I give it to others. Like, and here's what the give is, right? Is where have you done that yourself? Uh-oh. Where have you done that thing that you're mind reading that person about? Where have you done that yourself?
I hereby proclaim this planet Trumania.
And it's one of those projection, reflection, forgiveness pieces where I'm projecting something outwardly to help myself feel better, to help myself release the guilt that I might have about having perhaps done that in my past or done some form of it in my past. And then that reflection, so I'm reflecting it back to me. Where am I in this? And then from there, it's forgiveness. Can I forgive myself? Can I forgive them about what I believe they could be doing, which I don't know necessarily for sure? It's opening up the opportunity that it may not be happening at all in the way that I think that it is. So, and then recognizing the ultimate. When you know what the ultimate is that there is no forgiveness without judgment. So therefore I'm judging, then I need to forgive, right? When really there's nothing to forgive because there was nothing ever to judge because all events are neutral. Ugh, big giant leaps in our thinking, right? We've got to, and I've been thinking about this and considering it of the 10 levels deep kind of concept that I do a lot of time with folks, is that feeling of, I don't go the surface level. I think if you have some people, they're going to, get your story, they're going to get your history, they're going to get your stuff. But I'm the kind of person that when I work with somebody, I'm going to go 10 levels deep. That's why I'm not for everyone.
Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket.
And that's a t-shirt that I want to get. I want to make, I'm not for everyone. INFJ, not for everyone. My husband came up with a really good one the other day, and it was, you don't like me, and that's fine. And putting that on a t-shirt that just feels so fun to me. Okay, anyway, so you don't like me, and that's fine. It's actually literally my favorite. This is my favorite one. But I'm not for everyone. And I get it. And that's fine. Because I am not personally willing to stay here. I want to go 10 levels deep, and I want to get connected on those big principles, those big ideas that are intended for massive growth, massive change, to transform the experience that I have and that other people have as well. Because I'm supposed to be in this life for fun. I'm supposed to be in this life to enjoy my experiences with people and situations, not to continually mind read, project, push people away, make it so that I'm right about the experience that I'm having. Because what if I'm not? And I love that Byron Katie work called The Work, by the way. And the first two questions are, is this true? Is this absolutely true? Because we can go to that surface level and say, is this true? It's like, well, maybe, but is it absolutely true? Like absolutely no doubt in your mind that this is and being, and you've asked them, and and they have said, yes, you're absolutely right. This is, a lot of times people don't even take that step to say to the person or ask the ask the person. They just make the assumption. And I've had plenty of assumptions made about me, and it's sad because they just mind read me, and they didn't actually know for sure what was going on. And when you have some surface level relationships, friendships, whatever, where it's kind of based on nothing really substantial as it is, and kind of shifting sands, and they're kind of with you as the mood hits, then they probably are going to just make the assumption and then move on. And honestly, those are not necessarily the relationships or friendships that you want anyway. So when you have people mind read you, you know how that feels, how that can feel bad to you. We take it and flip it the other way. And if you mind read others, can you ask that clarifying question? Can you ask that one more step deeper? Can you go even 10 levels deep and just say, wait a minute, what is really happening here in me? What is the need in me that says I need to mind read them? I need to take this on and make them, sometimes in some cases, see my point of view or my position, when in actuality that may not even be what they're thinking anyway. And you're answering a question that hasn't been asked, or you're asking a question that's absolutely unnecessary because it's not really where they are. So asking clarifying questions in general is helpful. For me, it's a why do you want to know? If somebody asks me a question, I'll ask, why do you want to know? And I want to also be very clear about any questions that I ask. So if I'm asking someone something to clarify my understanding about what's happening, I can also expect potentially to be asked that question, why do you want to know? And then it's like, well, why do I want to know? And usually it's because, and I'll say this too, I'm making up a story in my mind that's causing me to believe that you don't love me right now, or that I'm not enough, or that I'm not good enough right now. And that gives them an opportunity to say something different, or to present a different idea or context or understanding that I don't know. And like I said, if you care about the relationship and they care about the relationship, this will be an easy exchange. If one or the other or both don't really care about the relationship, it probably won't go very far. And either they'll make the assumption, you'll make the assumption, and the experience will terminate, which is also fine. It's also good, because it's unfortunate if the mind reading is incorrect and you lose the relationship as a result. But also, was it really even a relationship if the only thing you pass it through is your own filter of trauma, your own filter of personal beliefs, of value, of your own belief in your value, who you are, and it doesn't pass the test? If you're following it through and it's like, well, this isn't it, then it's okay that it didn't work out, and that you didn't explain yourself or make yourself wrong or make them wrong. And I think that one of the most important things is that oftentimes we will say that we're sorry, and apologize and make it all right. But I don't necessarily think that that's healthy either.
I'm sorry.
Because what if you aren't wrong? What if they aren't wrong? What if it's just not a match? Energetically or emotionally or physically or whatever it might be. It's just not a match. It can be okay for it to just not be a match. And we don't have to make the stories up in our mind that says, I'm the wrong one, or I'm to be blamed, or you're to be blamed, or whatever it might be. Instead, it just doesn't match. And I love that. And I've learned a lot about that through one of my favorite friends, Susan Ray, who I often have on this channel, of just going, wow, it's just not energetically aligned. And that's okay. That's okay. I love, there was this one video I saw of a guy, and he was ringing a frequency sound. And I really love that, because what that showed me was a physical demonstration of resonance. When two vibrations match. So we had the frequencies, two frequencies, two tones that were matching. And when they matched, the ball moved. There could be action taken then. But until there was a frequency match, it was off and there was no movement. Right? So that's where we come to, we get what we think of, we get who we are, not what we want. And we get the vibration, the frequency that we are. And that resonates. And then we have the movement in our experience, which I think is incredibly beautiful. So taking those ideas into consideration as you're moving into more of a deeper awareness about yourself, because you're wanting to go deeper. And I am for you. I am. You're like, oh yeah, I get that. I want more of that.
I want that.
Then great. I think it's wonderful. And because it's important to me that who you resonate with harmonizes with you, so that it's not even a matter of mind reading anymore. It's just a matter of, I can sense when that vibration feels like it's just a little bit wonky. And there's something going on here. And I want to learn, and I want to know about how they are and how they feel and what they need, and connect with them at a deeper level, not just based on our old wounds, our own old past, but instead of how can we benefit each other in a more loving way. That if that vibration is off, that frequency is off, then it's just not going to be matched. And so allowing that to be a potential for you, it's great. Just know that, instead of going, oh, I'm so wrong, I should be sorry, I feel so bad for doing X, Y, Z. Well, you don't really have to feel that way. It's just a mismatch. The purpose of this conversation that I've had with you is that it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to go a bit deeper, to not mind read, to say, I don't know what they're thinking, but I know what I'm feeling. And then discovering what that is. What is it that you're really feeling? I'm feeling like I'm lost. I feel that I'm not loved. I feel that I'm alone. I feel that I can't fully express who I am with certain people or situations. I have to pretend to be something I'm not. Or I have to make myself less so that they feel better. Or whatever the feelings are. Even though that may not be true, well, it's okay for you to say untrue things to yourself just to get to what is happening. We can't live our life with gold glitter on top. We have to look at the deep stuff, the meaningful stuff, the real stuff. If we don't, we go based off of our default mode, which is also a function of the brain. So a default mode situation where we fall back into the old patterns that were instilled in us very, very young. I was going to say at birth, but that may or may not be true. So in those early times of our life where we didn't know how to self-soothe, our prefrontal cortex wasn't even developed yet, where we were trying to figure out how to get our needs met, and how so often they weren't. And when we have experience as an adult, trying to soothe ourselves, trying to love ourselves better, trying to understand ourselves at a deeper level, if we just go, well, whatever, it's fine,
It's perfectly whatever.
then we may be missing the bigger picture. And the bigger picture to me is having a more fulfilled, loving, empowered, beautiful experience of life. And if everything else gets mucked up by believing that something is true when it's not, we can lose ourselves in it. So, all some things to think about as you're kind of moving through your process, as I move through my own, is to be honest, tell people what you're thinking. And I say that with a caveated face because we don't tell the truth and our truth and our vulnerability to empty people. So if somebody is in your life and you want them to understand you better, but they are empty, alone, or fade, or they just are not there 100% with you, on track with you, able to love you, then it might not be the right person to share with. But if you have a good friend who's very loving, very open, very kind-hearted, that can be different. So we're lovable in the stories we create because they're generally not our stories anyway. Sometimes they come from someone else. And it's not really true. It's based on our default mode information. And it's just some wired and fired stuff, neurology in our brain that says this is who you are. But it's not. It's not necessarily true. So I'll invite you to bring in that Byron Katie stuff. Is it true? Is it absolutely true? Ask clarifying questions. And then finally, phone a friend, dude. Phone a friend who may be outside of the situation and who is willing to speak to you and love you and connect with you in a way that's genuine and honest and helps you see yourself and potentially your friend better. All right. Hope you have a great day. Take care.